Hey everybody, and welcome to EDU307, Children's Literature and Literacy. So I tried to do the live recording of my lecture today, and it was an abysmal failure. For those who sat through it remotely, I apologize. I just tried to look at the video recordings, and it didn't work. There was enough I could edit it down and work on it, but I decided it would just be easier to record something brand new. Because it's important for everyone to really see how we navigate through the class. And there's a couple of options that I want to talk about. First, I just want to welcome everybody. And I really enjoy this class because it's so much about the stories that children connect with in school that brings them and develops them as readers. And they are so critical in developing their sense of agency and their identities. I mean, the books we read in elementary school can kind of shape who we become. So the purpose of this video introduction is to go over three things: the workflow of the class, the technology involved, and then finally a review of the syllabus and what will happen. So when you're thinking about this course, it involves three parts as the workflow. There is your blog, that's where you're going to do a lot of your writing about the books that we read, about children's literature, and about the assigned readings in class. It's really your journal. Then there's the class website, and this is the library, the class hub. And this is where you go to check out your materials. It describes the assignments, and it's where you'll find links to all the readings. But that's it. It's a read-only place. You don't do anything there. You do all the work on your own blog. But however, we gather together on our class stream. And so that is where we really, that's our coffee shop in a sense. You might do your artwork where you make meaning on your blog. That's your personal space to write. But then you gather with the rest of us and you pour a cup of joe and you put your art up on the wall, you open it up for critique, you share who you are, and that's the class stream. So we're going to go through each one of those elements now. So the first question I usually get at this point is, oh my gosh, how do I keep track of all of this? How am I going to navigate through all these different sites? Well, don't worry, I've connected them all for you. Besides your blog, but we'll get to that in a second. If you're at any of the sites, whether in the syllabus or if you're on the class website or the class stream, you can get to everything. From the syllabus, there's a link to the course and to the stream in each section. So let's start by examining the course. This is what I call the class hub, and it's set up so we'll work on your cell phone or on your computer. You can minimize the navigation if you want. And it's set up in units. Now, these links for the first modules, what is children's literature, elements of literature, literacies and worldview, workshop methods, literatures and foundational skills, those are all set up. The rest, we're going to take turns and teach those to each other, but more on those later. But this is where you will go to find all of the elements of the course. And they're all broken up by modules. So the first module is what is children's literature? And it is due on next week, by the 7th. So when you're looking at it, what you'll see here are a couple of things. You have all of your readings. You have an overview show, which you then can click on and see. And you have then your different readings. Now, this is a 6-minute YouTube videos. This is a website. This is a short article on graphic novels. This is the major reading, and we're going to annotate that together. But I will send out a new video, another tutorial on annotating later on or early next week. And then it's broken up into every module has a read, write, and participate section. I'm just going to scroll my screen up a little bit. And what you do is it will take you, you do it. You read, write, and participate. That's what you do in this class. So complete the readings, the expectations. You don't memorize everything. Some readings will draw you more to the other. I try to give you a menu of learning. But for writing, all right, so you have to do a blog post as a reaction to your reading. So each module you're doing a blog post based on the reading. And then you also have a performance task, and that usually turns into a blog post as well. And there are and you might focus with your blog post to focus in on one of the readings, or maybe you're going to try to combine them all into a synthesis. There's no real word count. In fact, you don't even have to use words if you want to do video reactions. What I'm looking for is literary analysis at the college level in each of your posts. So that, there's certain expectations. You will probably provide a gist of the article, and you're going to give me, the title and the author somewhere in like a very short beginning, 2 or 3. You're going to have some kind of critical analysis or a connection to a significant event in your life. And it's going to be thought out. And I'll model that process for you in a second as I show you how the blog writing will go. So that's where you find all of the readings and the materials. Now, we do have the last one for this week. Each week there will be one reading that you annotate together, because this is an online class, but that doesn't necessarily mean alone. So you do have to annotate one reading, a module, and for that we use a tool called Hypothesis. If you've had me before, we've used that in this class. What is different is I've set up a private group, and I emailed, I think, everybody an invitation to that group, or if I haven't, I will. And what you do is you can click on this to write an annotation, and I can then, let me log in here. If you haven't, you can go to sign up, but I'm already a member. I mean, the sign up screen's very simple if you look at it. Just, that's it. So I'm going to go to JGMac1106, I'm going to log in. And here I have the options for EDU305 and EDU573. This is, and this class is EDU307, so I'll do a new group. In this EDU307, create a new group, and I will then mail out this link to every one of you after this tutorial, back to class. So now I can then go to my class. So this means that only people in the class can see our annotations. And you have page notes, which if you wanted to, maybe you're doing an outline, or it was more than an annotation. You wanted to take notes as you read. I'm more of a note taker than an annotator, I can't lie, so I often use that function. But with the annotations, it works like this. Once you have this tool installed, you highlight, and I can hit annotate, and I can just retrospective research analysis. A research narrative. And then I can just post to EDU307. And that is a private post that only our group can see. If I wanted to change that, I could post this only to me and keep it private. But for us, it's only in that group. And that's the annotation tool. And there is a tutorial on the website, but I will do more of that for everyone as well. So that's the class website. You just, that's what you do there. So let's go back to the syllabus. And the other item is the class stream. And this is where we will hang out. And the reason we set this up is this is the only information I have about you, but you can delete your account at any time. So when class is over, some people from last semester chose to keep their information up here for the rest of you to see. And you can go back and see everybody and what they've done in this class in the past. And what the navigation I have up here, this will bring you back to the class website. Once I get everybody's blog posts, I will build a public stream for us to be able to follow our readings. And I also have a link for just the posts that I make And this is helpful, because I might give up reminders or tips, so you have a link just to that post. So what you'll have to do first is register on the site. So you can go in and register. There's all the information. I've already done it. So I'm going to click over and sign in. And here it is. Now, these are the people that we met today, and they have their blog addresses already up. To make a post here, you have a couple options. This is just a status update. This is a post. This is for picture sharing. This is if there's a bookmark you want to show, location, or if you want to do a podcast, events, or dates, which might come in handy for setting group events later on in the semester. But what you will do is just basically describe your blog. You would just post here and share about your blog posts. So, the blog now. What do? You are going to make your own. This is where I give you control over all of your own information. Instead of it living, somewhere else, you can decide how you share it. You can share it with the class. You can share it out to the world. You can delete it once class is over. But what you make in my class belongs to you, and you can use it in any way, shape, or form. What you'll do to post a blog is first create a blog. We're going to use WordPress.com. This is absolutely free. So I'm going to go over to WordPress.com now. All right, now I'm already a member, but if you want to sign up, you can just click sign up here. But what a lot of people do is just click on create website, and then you just go through and you can pick what you're working on. And then you can decide if you want a welcome page where you're going to have a front page. And that's what I have on my blog, but I've been blogging for years. Or you might just do a grid of your latest posts or a list of your latest posts. It doesn't really matter. And then you can just choose the theme that you want. Enter in your domain name. This is, at WordPress.com. So Dr. Max Literature Exploration. And I can then select that as free. And then I can, own it. There's a couple options, and you can upgrade if you want it to be just your domain. And that is something you might want to think about, having a domain of your own where you could just have, when it comes time, somebody is going to Google you. And you know what? Having your name and a domain will just enhance you. They're going to look for you when you look for a job. I know some people are like, oh, but my name's John Smith. They'll never find me. Well, they'll probably use keywords. If you're applying for a teacher job, they might search for John Smith teacher plus your state. And the search engines, I guess the hamsters that spin the wheels at Google are pretty smart. So they'll find you, even with a common name. But you might not be able to find a domain name. But you just get creative like I did, like Dr. Max Literature Explorations. One thing, if you're going to continue on with the website, you may not want to just call it EDU307. You might want to use something a little bit more lasting than that. So then you select the free account. You put in your email address and you choose your password. I'm actually going to log in because I already have WordPress accounts. And I'm going to go to my sites. Go over to my blog. And I'm going to add a blog post. And you know what I'm going to talk about? I'm just doing this as a quick example. But I'm going to talk about is the experience I had of trying to record the lecture today. I will post a link to what it looks like onto the stream. There's some information there, but it was just awful. I couldn't get the smartboard to work, and then I forgot to turn off the screen casting. So you're basically just looking at bouncing lines all over a smartboard while I talk. I didn't have a camera operator, so I'm going to talk about that. So the first step, even before writing, is pre-writing. Paper prototype always. Like I know, or just come up with your bullet point first. But whatever you do, gather your thoughts before you write. This is when I see these just one long paragraphs, or even these short one paragraphs. It usually means that you weren't pre-writing. And when you pre-write your blog posts, break it up into sections. Think about getting in where you're going to bring in your quotes from the reading. Where you're going to then in each section you can ask yourself, did I analyze the reading well enough? So pre-write. All right. So the editing board of WordPress.com. You can add your title here. First day fails. And you can then go ahead and write your article. So now I have edited my blog post. I have it written. If you'll notice up here, I've used headers. So to do that, I went up to here where it said paragraph, and I selected a header 3. Headers help your readers. It gives them kind of a navigation sense to your piece. It makes your information more concrete. The idea is more explicit. It's basically, you're taking the inference out for the reader. You're providing them navigational techniques. So I'm going to go back and switch that to header 3. And here I inserted a picture. But I'm going to go and do that as a featured image up there. So I'm going to go over here to featured image. And I'm going to select a featured image. I'm going to add load media. Try to find it. Could have sworn it's downloaded it. So now I've uploaded my featured image, and I will just click on set featured image. And it will be in the post now when I publish it. Now I can add categories and tags later, but I won't do that right now. And then I could then publish this onto my blog by hitting publish. The post is now published on my blog. Now you have to share your link, okay? Here's some, now, so if I go to my blog here, here's my blog, and look what happened. I ended up with like kind of a double picture because of the featured image for the post. Here is the link to the blog post, and I'm gonna actually edit this and change it so you don't get that double picture image going on. But here's the link to the blog post. So I'm gonna take that link and now I share that to the classroom stream. So that's what we're gonna go over next, the class stream. Before I share it to the stream, I wanted to show you that I noticed that double picture thing looking a little strange with my theme, so I'm going to go back and delete the featured image and just use the one where I have the Flickr photo involved there. So I'm going to edit this, and I will delete the featured image, and I will update the post this way. Now I'm ready to go share it to the stream. Before we share to the stream, just a quick notice on the URLs. You'll notice here is the URL to my blog, jgregorymcveary.wordpress.com. I actually have a different one, but I was copying this just to show you exactly how it would look for you. That's the address to my blog. The address to my post, if you'll notice, is here. Now you have the URL. Notice you then have the date and then the title of the post. This is what you're going to be sharing to the class stream. So you go over to the stream now, and I'm here, and I'm going to sign in. Now I'll make a new post. And you know what, I might even want to add a picture here. So I can upload and insert the same picture that I did there before. But I'm actually going to do something a little bit different, and just to show you guys something. Little teaser onto another skill we'll learn later on in the semester. And here is a link to my blog. So I need to go back to my blog, The First Day Fail, copy the link, go back to the stream, and then I can post that right in there. Or, better yet, I can highlight, here's a link to my blog, go up to the link, and insert the URL, hit OK, and then when I'm done, and then when that's done, I can then go ahead and hit publish. And that will now be on the class stream. So that's pretty much the roundup of how class will work. And that we went through each of those elements. So now I think we'll move on to describe the syllabus. So looking at the syllabus, it's broken up into the course objectives. And I want you to really spend some time reading those and thinking about what that means, and what I'm asking you to really understand. And what these are the assessments. This is really what I will be judging you on throughout the semester, is your attainment of these skills and the knowledge of different children's literature. So this is really what you need to be able to do. Excuse me. Then you have these units of study, and they're all linked, again, to the exact placing in the classroom website. So if I click on this link, it'll bring me over to what is children's literature. Now, the projects. You have two options for your project. One of those is being a reader, and what that means is you'll get together with a group of 3 to 4 students, and you will select three children's literature books or young adult literature and read them across, and read those together, meeting in some way, holding a book discussion. That could be through FaceTime or something online. It could be in face-to-face. It could be over Skype. However, you're going to get together and you're going to talk. And then you'll write up a blog post kind of talking about what you learned and talking about what you talked about. The other option, and I'll show you this in a second, is to be a curator. For the last 5 years in EDU307, we have been building a wiki of book reviews. And now it needs to be curated. This means, like, if the same book has been reviewed 4 times, picking the best one, coming up with some kind of navigation, whether that's by grade level, by topic, however we want to organize those books, and then building that out in the wiki. Then you have to do something to connect with other educators, and you have a couple options here. You can do a Twitter chat. Twitter is an awesome tool for teachers, and especially for teachers of children's literature. There's there's ELA chat, there's the book talk chat. There's so many different chats that go on Twitter, and you just have to do 3 of them throughout the semester. They're about an hour long, and then write them up, talk about them or do a blog post talking about. The other option is to do an instructional video. Now, everybody in the group is going to do one hybrid video where they talk about character analysis, and they're going to do a direct instruction video that can be used for like a flipped classroom. But you could also choose this as a final project if you really like that, and you will do a series of, I gotta fix some spelling mistakes I see in there, but a series of instructional videos on some elements or different genres of children's literature. Now, everyone must complete a blog, and we talked about how each module you'll do a reflective essay on a reading and then any of the other assignments on that. You'll also do this is a W class, and part of that class is a writing element, and yes, you'll be writing throughout the entire blog, aspects, but you'll also have to do a major revision project, and that's around the genre study. So you'll pick some genre, maybe it's mythology, maybe it's realistic fiction, maybe it's poetry, and then you'll write a 2 to 3 page informational source and revise that piece on how you would teach that genre in class. What is the purpose of it? How do you teach kids to read it? How do you teach them to write it? Then you'd write a 2 to 3 narrative piece. So if you did mythology, you'd write a myth on maybe how the apple got its red color, and talk about it that way. Your final is a book review, and that's done on Wikispaces, and I will do demos on that later. And then you also have to do a hybrid teaching unit as a group. So what's going to happen is once we get to poetry, I will model poetry, but then the other units left, picture books, fables, myths, fantasies, biography, and realistic fiction, each of you, you'll be put into small groups, and you guys will design that module. You'll find the readings for it. You'll develop the writing activities and the participation activities for us, and you'll be in charge of providing the feedback, doing the grading, doing the assessment. You will take over the class for the second half of the semester. So that's pretty much it. That wraps up the introduction to EDU 307, and I'm looking forward to the semester.